Hi friends, it's Brittany Dinkins Papyrus and welcome back to my channel. Wait till you see this mountain of junk journal embellishments I have to show you. You are going to hopefully come away with a ton of ideas for things to make for your own journals. Embellishing a junk journal may be one of my favorite parts of junk journal making. Embellishments are anything you use to decorate and add flair to your journal. They can be purchased or made, though I think we can all agree that making them is way more fun. They can be themed or completely whimsical with little rhyme or reason. They can be made from a couple of scrap papers and a staple, or they can be intricate and detailed. You can mass make them, i.e., making a large variety of one project all at once, or you can make several different kinds of embellishments to fit in a specifically themed journal. There are obvious advantages to both. Mass making one type of embellishment means you have all the supplies you need at the ready. It's so easy to get into the zone. By repeating the same process, you oftentimes get better, more efficient, and can direct your attention to decorating and just being creative. When you're creating a variety of embellishments for a specifically themed journal, though, you'll have all of the colors and decorations and digital images if that's what you are choosing to use at the ready. You'll probably have a better idea as to how many embellishments you need and what kind of embellishments you'll need to finish the journal. I personally love mass making embellishments. I find the process so relaxing. Oftentimes, I use it as a way to use up my scraps when I'm done with a big project. I find it so much fun, and you're going to see that a lot of these projects are made with very simple supplies and oftentimes are made from leftover scraps. As you can see, I have a ginormous tub of pre-made embellishments. It's kind of an eyesore, but I find it very practical. It's under my desk right at eye level. It's so easy to pull out, and I have everything sorted into gallon-sized plastic bags so I can easily see into them. I'm sure there are better ways to store your embellishments, but I've been using the system for a couple of years now, and it's been working for me. It's also easy enough to get to it that I actually have been putting away my embellishments into the bags that they belong instead of stacking them on each other or throwing them away in my scrap drawer where they don't belong. I just adore that distressed paper packaging that you're seeing there. I don't know that it really counts as an embellishment, but nevertheless, I do use it a lot in my journals and do use it to create a lot of my embellishments. So that's where it gets stored in the plastic bin. So, up first, magazine embellishments, though they seem to have worked their way in with some paper, some brown paper packaging embellishments. So, to start, we'll kind of do both together. Um, One thing I've been very guilty of, though, I have to say, is mass making a ton of embellishments and not getting them in my journals. Sometimes I forget I have embellishments that would fit perfectly into certain journals, but they're still sitting in that plastic tub. So today we're taking a look through this ginormous stash. I hope in turn you'll come away with a ton of ideas. You're also going to see me go through a couple of my journals that I feel I have the perfect embellishment for. You'll get a mini super fast flip through in return, and maybe we'll look at some other embellishments and page layouts for ideas. Some of those magazine embellishments I showed you, I'm actually really proud of myself for because I took images I normally would never think to use in my journals, such as the food packaging, like the ketchup and the hot sauce. I would never normally use those in my journals, but they were the perfect size to put on a faux stamp. And just by stamping over top of them and distressing them a little bit, I made the cutest little postage stamps. This came from the recipe section of a magazine I would normally never think to really look through. I found this brown distressed envelope with a seashell on it and thought that would be perfect for my beach journal. I don't know why this isn't in my ocean themed journal yet, so I set it aside and it definitely needs to go in there. As for brown paper bags and packaging, there's so much that you can do with them. If you were planning on using ink or paints, you may want to put some white gesso down first, or if maybe you just wanted to use it to write on, gesso works perfectly. There's something so nice and soft about paper bags, especially that emboss so well. And if you really want to emphasize the embossing, you can put some white gesso over the embossed images. But save your brown paper bags and packaging. They look amazing. I especially love using them in my ocean themed vintage journal you'll see coming up. There's something so nice about ocean images and the brown paper packaging together. It's very vintage. Yeah, I love it. Those journaling cards you see there are just stenciled white modeling paste with some watercolor paint over top. Those pockets you saw were paper bags folded over on top of themselves, and I simply sewed around them in order to emphasize that there was a pocket. I either put a white doily up against one side of the paper bag or gessoed one side and left the other brown. Once you've put some white gesso down, it's so easy to stamp on them, paint on them, write on them. I think brown paper packaging may just be one of my very favorite craft supplies. In case you were wondering, I am going to do a whole section where I show you specific magazine embellishments. They kind of got cheated here since they were scattered in with the paper bags. Not to worry, if you do want to skip ahead, you can skip ahead to the 11-minute mark where we will be going through a whole stack of them. I made a whole stack of journaling cards out of those modeling paste stenciled painted little birds and plants and palms, and I love this. This is such a great way to put color on brown paper packaging. It can be a little bit challenging to do so. You know, not everything looks good up against the brown packaging, but if you were looking for a way to do that, this is a great way to do it. Um, and even though I did end up painting over most of the images, you don't necessarily have to. Just the white modeling paste gives such nice contrast up against the brown paper bag. Some of them you can just leave as is. I love those loaded pockets I just showed you. You can stuff them full of ephemera bits. You can glue them down or you can decorate both sides and pin them in a journal. If you are giving a journal to someone or selling it, this is a great way to give them a whole stash of ephemera that they can decorate the journal with themselves. So this is the Vintage by the Sea journal I was telling you about earlier. By the way, any journals that I've done flip throughs on or any embellishments that I have done process videos on will be found in the description box below. When I saw those little faux postcards where I had modeling or a stenciled modeling paste of shells on, I knew I had to work those in here. You'll see a couple of different page layouts. I was just looking for the perfect place for those little faux postage stamps to go, and I think I found it. This By the Sea journal has to be one of my favorite journals I've ever made. I love the ocean. As you guys know, I have such a fascination with it. I always have. I love swimming. I scuba dive, which, by the way, I really have to work on my dive journal. And I have to show you guys some of the really cool things that I've been doing in that and show you some pictures from some incredible trips I have recently taken. So look for that in an upcoming video. Okay, sorry, not to get us too far off track, this video is supposed to be about embellishments and not about 10 other journals, so I'm going to try and refocus here. So you are going to see me just putting away a couple of postage stamps. The postage stamps I have made here, you saw the one with the food packaging or food pictures on them earlier. You will see me make them out of die cuts. Some of them are simply just stamped images. In the magazine embellishment video or magazine embellishment section, you'll see in a little bit, you'll see that I actually took fussy cut some images of Valentine cupcakes out and made a whole cute little like Valentine themed faux large, like jumbo postage stamps out of them, and I made a whole collection that I used in some of my journals. So there's so many things that you can do with these little postage stamps. Throughout my video, you'll see there are definitely certain embellishments that you can tell that I really love making. Some of the embellishments you'll see me go through in my stash were made many years ago. I don't know why I haven't used them in my journals, aside from the fact that I just haven't made the effort to go through my embellishment stash, and that's what I'm hoping to do today. Some of them, I don't know if they kind of represent the theme and the style of journals that I make today, and you guys may find that you may find the same thing as you go through sort of an evolution as a creator. You may find that some of the things that you've made don't really represent maybe your tastes and interests today, and that's okay. Maybe find an older journal that where you feel like the embellishments, you feel like they match kind of the style that you were going for. Maybe it's just that they're very simple and you feel like you've evolved a lot and you've advanced a lot, and it's okay. Like, still, you should find a place for them. And that's what I'm trying to do today. I hope that makes sense, and I would really encourage you guys to go back and look through your old journals and maybe not scoff at them, even if you feel like you would definitely never make the same thing today. It's an evolution, it's a process, and going back and looking at how you've changed and how you've grown over the years can be really rewarding. All right, here it is, magazine embellishments. Just in case you weren't sure, I have become obsessed with making embellishments out of magazine images. I have found that, some magazine images are beautiful just the way they are. Oftentimes I use those for postcards and things that don't require a whole lot of altering or dolling up. I also find that sometimes the funnest, most coolest embellishments I have ever made for magazines were made from very ordinary images, images that you may have previously considered throwaway images, images that you left in the back of the magazine and threw into the wastebasket because you didn't think there was anything that you could do with them, and I am challenging you to make something of them. I came across those faux postage stamps, the one that I made out of Valentine's Day cupcakes with the sayings on them. I had to find a good place to put them into my Valentine's Day journal, but I also came across one that said hot stuff, and I realized that would be perfect for my dog's memory book because, yes, he thinks he is the hottest of the stuff. I put it in to one of his pages. This is a pretty empty journal that I just started working on for him. I love documenting our adventures together, and I decided to use it as a pocket. I will probably put in some of his pictures of him in his Valentine's Day bow tie and maybe do a little bit of journaling about all the girlfriends he has in our neighborhood. This jumbo journaling card I'm simply pinning into my botanical slash nature journal is just a magazine image of a bug sitting on the leaf. So guys, it doesn't have to be difficult. In the back are some really cool creatures that I made little mini journaling cards out of. I put them into a pocket on the back. On the front side is a picture of the little creature, and on the back is a little blurb I found in the magazine about them. So your magazine embellishments and things like that can be purely entertainment and to look at, or they can actually be informative as well. I often do the same thing with magazine postcards, especially if I find a place very interesting or if it's a postcard of an animal or something I find very fascinating. If there's useful information with it in the magazine, sometimes I will put that blurb either on the front of the postcard itself or on the back. If I don't like the text, then sometimes I'll just copy in writing what was written in the magazine as well myself and just put it where I want it. These are the tags that were lying around at the beginning of the video because I just hadn't put them into my embellishment stash yet. I wanted to find one that fit perfectly that pretty potpourri sachet pocket that I used. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of utilizing packaging in journals. Some packaging is just so pretty by itself. It's prettier than any image you could buy or any digital you could buy, so why not use it, right? I found this really cute little house tag that I made, and yes, whimsical houses are another one of my favorite embellishments to create. And on to our next embellishment, paper clips. Paper clips aren't just necessary and functional, they can be a stunning way to decorate a junk journal. There is such a wide variety of ways you can decorate and make paper clips. Here you can see I have paper clips made out of paper folded all different kinds of ways, laces, fabrics. Some of them are mixed media paper clips. I have even like little critters that are laminated that I've secured the paper clips to with hot glue. Gosh, I could just talk to you about paper clips for hours. A couple of them I did purchase online. You'll see the really pretty decorative ones with the charms. And in a second, you're going to see me pull out my mermaid journal. I came across a mermaid bow paperclip and another one with a mermaid tail, and I was like, why isn't this already in my mermaid journal? This altered paperclip here is wrapped in washi tape. It has some cute little danglies at the bottom and a ball pin up top. You can use it to secure to your spine to make some spine jewelry. You can attach them to the closure. In this case, there's some lace on the fold over cover portion that I thought really could use some decorating, so I just opted to secure it there. Paper clips can either be extremely complicated and detailed, or they can be super simple. These paper clips here were simply made by using circle punches as a base and building on them and decorating them from there. If you're looking to go paperclip crazy and would like some ideas and want to learn more about the paper clips I have in front of me, take a look down below. It is called the Paperclip Palooza. It is nothing but an hour-long idea session. It will blow your mind, and we will go through what is probably hundreds of ideas of different paper clips you can make. I found a couple of old Christmas themed paper clips hanging out and wanted to put them away in my pink Christmas journal I made this last year. As you can see, I didn't get very far. I was working on another Christmas journal, so this is going to be priority numero uno come Christmas time this year. And for our next embellishment, decorated puzzle pieces. Guys, if you've never decorated yourself some puzzle pieces, maybe you should. I am still finding different ways to use them in my journals. I use them as page layouts, sometimes as tabs, and in a second you'll see me secure one of the puzzle pieces to the spine as a decoration for one of the floral journals that I'm currently working on. This one here is a puzzle piece I made for my dog's journal, and as you can see, it has little charms dangling below, and I'm definitely going to use it as a tassel. As cute as they are, they might not be for everyone. I'm not going to lie, they could be extremely frustrating sometimes because you're working with such small little pieces, small little die cuts. You can use those little blingy rhinestones, glitter. I do a lot of decorating with tissue paper, so you're just like Mod Podging the tissue paper down. I do a whole video on this. It is really important that you prep your puzzle pieces a certain way so that one, you kind of cover up um, the actual puzzle pieces themselves, but also you want things to be able to stick to them. So I go through that whole process. So yes, it can be a little infuriating at times. It requires a lot of attention to fine detail, and it can be frustrating, but the end result is spectacular. When I saw this puzzle piece, I knew exactly the journal and the page layout that this had to go into. This strawberry puzzle piece ends up going into my Home for a Bunny little golden book journal, into this really cute little strawberry layout I did inspired from a strawberry shortcake little manual, like game manual I picked up at the thrift store. And this rounded out the layout and was everything I ever hoped it could be. As for the next embellishments I want to show you, I found a bag of book page pockets and tea cards. Why they were in with each other, not quite sure, but that's why I'm going through these today. The book page pockets are just that book pages stacked on top of each other, hinged so they fold on top of themselves. I usually only decorate the front page of the pockets and glue them into journals. You can also pin them in. They are a great way to use up book pages, and you can chock them full of pieces of ephemera. The tea cards are one of my absolute favorite embellishments to make. I actually made these out of decoupage napkins that I printed at home myself. Works out quite well. I have layered some pages and some text numbers. The decoupage napkins, put some ink on them, dolled them up a little bit. Yeah, tea cards are a great way to use up scraps. They're a great way to think of a like a mini page layout, but you're only committing to a small little square. I adore these. Sorry we're running behind. As you guys know, it's hard for me to stop talking about embellishments. I love them so much. Book page stationery, it's just what it sounds like. You can make stationery specifically to fit the theme of the envelope you're making, or you can simply use these to put bits of ephemera or journaling cards, and again, a great hidden journaling spot. Oftentimes, I like to decorate my envelopes by layering on paper, images. I stamp on top of them. Sometimes, if I want to do some real decorating and the text is a little bit too much, I will just gesso right over them. I sometimes will sew them. You don't have to sew them. You can simply just glue them. But there's so many different ways to decorate these. The possibilities truly are endless. Oh my gosh, clusters, the project for when you have ends and bits and bops that you think would never normally go together. Somehow, if you put a staple through it and layer it on top of each other or sew it, sometimes it just works. And if you still think it doesn't work, maybe put a digital image or a sticker or a word or number over it, and somehow it fits together. I don't know how, don't ask me how, but it just does. Like that ticket of the retro car that I end up using in a second in that retro Valentine themed journal. I was like, I'll never use this, and yet it looks perfect there. It like it was made for the page. I don't know how to explain it. Clusters, use them as page tabs, as I don't know, toppers. Sometimes I'll put like a paper clip through the cluster, secure the cluster through to the paper clip, and it looks incredible. I don't. You can do. Listen, tell me something you can't do with a cluster, and I will tell you you're wrong. Die cuts, not really an embellishment, but I do keep them in my ginormous plastic embellishment stash just because I don't really have a better place to put them. I think I need a better place to put them because, let's face it, it's very hard to find little pieces of die cuts when they're amongst hundreds. So I wouldn't recommend this. This really isn't a great way to store them. I think this is my way of saying I need to do better. Sorry, guys. That's all I got for this. If you guys wouldn't mind, please drop me a comment below and tell me how you store your die cuts. And there's got to be a better solution to this. Let me know what you guys are doing. Give me some ideas. I really need to change this. Speaking of things and projects that may be a little bit embarrassing, I'm putting it all out there. Listen, I do think this was originally a great idea. The execution wasn't great. These are faux wax seals made from hot glue. I experimented by putting in images and pieces of fabric, buttons, seed beads. Some of them actually, oh, even charms. Some of them are quite cute, though you have to have very transparent glue and you need to be good about making sure everything is laying down way flat, so you only have to put a thin layer of glue over it. Because I found that once you start putting multiple layers of glue over top, anything you put inside becomes opaque. I would really, really, really like to redo these embellishments and do them in a different way, better executed, because they are, when they turn out well, they are fabulous. Oh my gosh, I was so excited. We were back on track with the voiceover linking with the video, and we're about to get back off track again because once I start talking about these whimsical watercolor doodles, I cannot stop. This is my absolute favorite embellishment to make, and please, this is for everybody. Don't say, "Oh, I can't paint." Don't say, "Oh, I can't draw." You can paint, you can draw, and you can make these watercolor doodles, and they are the freshest, most spectacular things that will liven up any journal. Just you wait. These are probably the most relaxing, fun project that I've ever created, and we need to do another video where we create these. I love putting them throughout my journals. They make for such a personal touch, and they are so bright and bubbly, and I just adore these. There's really nothing that I wouldn't love to paint and doodle over, but some of my absolute favorites are owls, birds, buttons. I think I made some whales and some narwhals as well. I also love those, I don't know if you saw, but the ball mason jars. Love doodling over those as well. Tags. For some reason, I have this empty bag with only a couple of tags in it. And so I thought, well, this is the perfect opportunity to actually clean those tags up. I have had on my desk and put them away, sock them away in the embellishment drawer. You can always decorate tags that you've bought, but you can also make them yourself. Make them out of any paper. Here I have those time card papers. Anything that's a little bit heavier, just fold it on top of itself, snip at the top, and you've made yourself a tag. While going through my stash, I found this bag of these bookmarks I had forgotten about. I used these to bust through some fabric scraps. I just simply collaged some fabric on pieces of heavier duty cardstock and put some little fabric and trim and applique on it and sewed them together and created a little topper. These are darling. I want to make some more of these. While I was in the bookmark bag, I found this piece of paper with some fabric ruffled on top of it. It was blue and purple and perfect for my mermaid journal. So I went ahead, I glued it to a page as a belly band, and I will be sure to stash it with some very magical things when I actually get around to working in this journal. I love that purple bookmark with that tassel on it, that tassel charm, and I think I glued down, the nail embellishments. I think I bought them because I thought they would be great like little stickers for your journals, and then I realized that they're actually meant to go on your nails and were really tiny, but they actually look great in certain projects. I think I'm also going to dig them out again and use them to decorate some of those puzzle pieces. Okay, not an embellishment, I know, but I love having stamped fabric at the ready. I use it in so many different projects. It is so much better to have fabric and paper that is already stamped at the ready than having to grab your stamp pads and drag them out all the time. I guarantee you will use them so much more. This is a great life hack, great journaling hack. Stamped fabric, stamped paper in a gallon plastic bag at the ready. It will change your life, I promise. So as you can maybe tell, I went through this huge phase where I just couldn't make enough envelopes. Maybe that's why I have so many. I need to stop making envelopes. Well, here you see I've made envelopes out of book pages, out of cardstock, out of just regular old envelopes that you get in the mail and kind of dolled them up with magazine images. I have made folded cardstock into envelopes and decorated them with die cuts. I set some with eyelets and then made a ribbon closure and added a charm to the bottom. I really like these a lot. I think I need to make more of these, or maybe I don't need more envelopes. Maybe I need to use some of the ones that I already have. I do really like saving these windowed envelopes. You can make so many other additional things out of them, like specimen cards, what I call shaker envelopes, like these really cute flip-up notebooks. There's so many things you can do with them. Whimsical Houses. Guys, you know how much I love these. I love using up scraps to make little cottages with windows, roofs, any little feature like a mailbox or planter box, flag, anything that you'd normally see on a house, you can make on these cottages here and personalize them. And one of my favorite times of the year to make these is actually Christmas time. I love making cozy Christmas cottages, but really any time is right to make these. Darling. magazine paper dolls, one of my absolute favorite embellishments to make. I know I've said this about many things, but they truly are one of my favorites. There's no limit to the amount of customization you can do. If you want to see more about how I accessorize these dolls, how I prep them, how I make their skirts, the tops, etc., check that out in the description box. That doll at the end there with the flower top, I don't know what I was thinking. Don't Believe me, you can do better than this. She looks really homely, and that's my fault, not hers. Just putting that out there. Next up, DIY washi strips. Yes, just like washi tape, they are pieces with repeating patterns. That could be stickers, fabric bits, stamps, embellishments. Sometimes I glue them, sometimes I sew them. I love using punch outs. The possibilities are endless. You can use them in their entirety to decorate a page, use them as page trim, or you can just rip them off or cut them and use just a little square piece to decorate something. They're great to have at the ready, and again, another perfect scrap busting project. Ah, pretty paper buttons, the solution to the fact that buttons are adorable to decorate your journal with, but they add bulk. Well, by layering paper together and then punching some holes, you too can create some adorable buttons. You can use cardstock. I've watercolored over paper, put washi over paper, and then punched them out. That way you can use any shape of paper punches, draw some holes or punch some holes, set some eyelets, and you have yourself some buttons. Again, the ways to customize these are absolutely endless. Put some threads or embroidery floss through to make them look super realistic, and you have yourself some adorable buttons. Next, embellishment, some washi tape bookmarks. I went over cardstock with some washi tape, added some toppers. I sewed over some of them. I layered some of them to give them a little extra pizzazz. And I actually these are adorable. I need to use these in my journals. This is a great way to use up extra washi you may have on hand that you're not really sure what else to do with. Great way to use it. And yes, I'm pretty sure those flowers you see in the background are some more of those nail decals I was talking about earlier. They were much larger picture than they are in real life, but they can be used to embellish things with. Just grab yourself a pair of tweezers so it is not nearly as infuriating when you are trying to glue them down. Love these embellishments. These are tri-fold scrappy notebooks. You are simply folding a piece of paper twice so it hinges out as a notebook, and then we are simply grabbing a stash. We are actually grabbing 3 stacks of paper that we will staple to each of the individual panels and then creating a closure. The concept is very simple. I actually started making these because I wanted some hidden journaling room. I don't exactly like my handwriting, and I love the idea of being able to hide some of my writing away from my journal layouts. That's why I started making these, and then I kept making these because I couldn't stop making these. Does that make sense? These really truly are a whole lot of fun. The closures can be simple or complex. Oftentimes, I will just sew or staple a piece of trim or some kind of ribbon to the front cover, wrap it around. You can secure it with a brad. I even used one of my magazine paper buttons in there to wrap the ribbon around. In an example I showed you just a second ago, you can use a charm or a button at the end of a piece of ribbon to secure it. Really anything works, guys. And again, this is a great way to use up scraps and odds and ends. Maybe you have some pieces of paper left over that you really like, but they're not really big enough to do anything else with. Just you can either use them as the notebook themselves or layer them in as pages into the notebook. I even made some mini notebooks just by folding pages on themselves and either sewing down the middle or stapling in the middle. These little mini notebooks are adorable. I There's not really a whole lot of room on the page to do anything with, but they're adorable. I think I may actually use them as some charms at the end of my journals or some charms at the end of a tassel. These here are pockets that I made out of masterboard. I simply made a bunch of collage masterboard and then cut out pockets and sewed all around them. I added a couple other decorations to them and left them as is. Some of these pockets, if you look carefully, are actually playing cards that are sewn to themselves. I decorated the front. I cut a little divot in the front so it clearly is a pocket, left the back kind of popping out, and I like the fact that you can obviously tell that these are playing cards. Wow, I had absolutely no idea how many pockets I had. I should probably start putting these in my journals. And a lot of them are very neutral and theme. They pretty much work in any journal, so I have no excuse for the fact that I haven't done anything with these. And I'm kind of embarrassed to tell you, but this is only one of many bags. I don't know what I was thinking. These here are just some very simple tearaway notebooks that I found. I just folded some papers on themselves and then sewed along the top. Perfect. And I found one with a verse by Steppenwolf that I think would look amazing in a travel journal. These here are some book page tucks, and don't judge. I think these are some of the OG embellishments. Like I made these when I very first started making junk journals, and yeah, I've grown and evolved. Let's just put it like that. As simple as they are, I still think some of them are really cute, and I put the ocean themed one aside, and I am going to use it in one of my diving journals that I'm currently working on right now. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about these tickets. Look how cute they are. I just layered some cardstock along each other and then punched out some holes with a hole punch to give the ticket effect and stamped and drew and added some images sort of in a repeating pattern, just like those washi tape strips I was showing you. And oh my gosh, these are the cutest little embellishments. Wow, it's a sin that I forgot about these. I can't wait to put these in my journal and I can't wait to make some more. Look at these specimen cards. I thought I had more than these. I don't know where the rest went, but nevertheless, I'm glad I found these. These are just very kind of basic, whimsical specimen cards. And look, I've decorated a lot of them with those watercolor doodles that I was showing you. Some stamping. I put some dried flowers in them and some other goodies. Not all of these specimen cards are the traditional see-through specimen cards where you see the same image inside on both sides. Some of them I back with book pages and put a different image in the front and a different image on the back. Not really a traditional specimen card, but I still really like the way these turned out. Another washi tape project. These here are washi tape snippet rolls. I just went along the wax paper with some glue stick and secured the washi and then decorated over top with some different embellishments, some stamping, some stickers. You go ahead and you cut wax strips, and then once you've glued the washi and the embellishments down, then you sew them together and then you secure them to a rolled up piece of paper, sort of acting as a spool, and then you paper clip it together to kind of keep it from unraveling. I still have a bunch of washi tape strips that I have to sew together and put on a spool, but you get the idea. These are really neat, and it's so great to have these at the ready to decorate your journals with. Postcards. One of my absolute favorite embellishments. I guess it's fitting that this is our last one together. I mentioned a little bit about postcards at the beginning when I was showing you pieces of magazine ephemera because I typically do use images from magazines. Often I will use a scenery or a person, an animal, and usually it does. It comes from magazines. It doesn't have to. I'll glue it down to a cardstock. You want to use a glue stick as opposed to a wet glue because, you know, that way you avoid wrinkles. And there's something you don't have to, but there's something so spectacular, I think, that ties the final product together when you sew around the image. And then if I've learned something by reading about the animal or the place, I will often in the on the back of the postcard where you normally write a correspondence, I'll write about that thing or something that I learned to just make it a little bit more personal. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for coming along this journey with me. It was very nostalgic going through this huge bin of embellishments. I hope this gave you a ton of ideas for things that you can make yourself. I hope it gave you a great, a ton of ideas for how you can bust through some of those scraps you may have and how to use these embellishments in your journal to personalize them, add some flair, and make them your own. If you enjoyed this and found value in this, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I can't wait to see you the next time.